Sunday lunch at Grandma's house was supposed to be routine. Instead, I walked into chaos. My cousin Brittany stood in the foyer with a measuring tape while Uncle Joe examined the crown molding like he was appraising jewelry. "What's going on?" I asked, setting down the bakery box. "Lena." "Perfect timing," Aunt Marsha said. "We're dividing up Grandma's house. Since you live in Seattle, we figured we'd handle the logistics." I froze. Grandma's house. "She's moving to assisted living next month," Mom said quietly from the corner, not meeting my eyes. "The family decided to keep the property rather than sell. Everyone's claiming spaces." Brittany waved her phone, showing a floor plan app. "I'm taking the guest room. Best natural light for my photography studio. Tyler's getting the basement for gaming." "The sunroom is mine," Aunt Marsha announced. "Perfect for yoga classes." Uncle Joe nodded. "I'm converting the garage into a workshop. Already talked to a contractor." My head spun. "You can't just divide up Grandma's house. Who owns it?" "We all do, obviously," Uncle Joe said dismissively. "Family property. Grandma wanted us to have it." "Did Grandma say that?" Aunt Marsha waved her hand. "She's getting forgetful. We're making the practical decisions. This way the house stays in the family, everyone gets space, and we split costs. Simple." "What costs?" "Utilities, taxes, maintenance," Uncle Joe said. "Divided equally. 6 family units split 6 ways. Your share is about $400 a month. $400 monthly for a room I'd visit twice a year. Has anyone looked at the title?" "Title?" Brittany laughed. "It's Grandma's house. We're family. We don't need lawyers and paperwork." But I was a real estate paralegal. I knew how badly family arrangements could implode without documentation. "Whose name is on the deed?" "Grandma's technically," Mom said. "But she's giving it to all of us. In writing." Uncomfortable silence. "She agreed verbally," Aunt Marsha said defensively. "Very clear she wanted family to have it." "Did she specify how? Joint tenancy? Tenants in common? Life estate? Trust?" "Stop with legal jargon," Uncle Joe snapped. "This is family. We don't need contracts. Grandma wants us to have the house, we're keeping it. End of story." "And Lena's paying her share," Brittany added. "Since she's never here, she gets the sewing room upstairs." "The sewing room. 8 by 10 feet. $400 monthly." "I haven't agreed to this." "It's not optional," Uncle Joe said. "We already told Grandma. Movers come next week. Starting renovations immediately." "Renovations? In a house Grandma still owns." Aunt Marsha showed renovation plans. New kitchen, updated bathrooms, fresh paint. Each family contributes $5,000 for renovations, plus monthly costs. $5,000 plus $400 monthly for a room I'd use twice a year. I'm not paying for renovations on a house I don't own. "You own a 6th, Tyler said, already measuring for gaming monitors. "Family shares family property. Show me the deed transfer." "We're handling that," Uncle Joe said impatiently. "Grandma's signing next week. Stop being difficult." Mom finally spoke. "Lena, please. Everyone's made plans. Don't make this harder." I looked at my mother and family measuring their claimed spaces like colonial settlers dividing conquered land. "I need to talk to Grandma." "She's napping," Aunt Marsha said quickly. "Doctor's orders. No stress." "Then I'll come back later." "You're overreacting," Brittany said. "Just accept your space and pay your share. That's how family works." I grabbed my bakery box and headed out. "Where are you going?" Mom called. "To check public records." Monday morning, I called the county recorder's office. "I need property ownership information for 847 Maple Street." The clerk pulled it up. "Current owner is Helen Martinez, sole proprietor. Deed recorded 1987. No recent transfers. Any liens or encumbrances?" "Property tax lien filed 6 months ago. Balance of $14,000. If unpaid by December 1st, property goes to auction." My stomach dropped. A tax lien. Taxes haven't been paid in 3 years. Lien filing triggered foreclosure proceedings. I hung up, mind racing. Grandma's house wasn't being kept in the family. It was being taken by the county for unpaid taxes. And my family was planning renovations on property that might be auctioned in 4 months. Called Mom. Did you know about the property tax lien? What lien? Grandma hasn't paid property taxes in 3 years. $14,000 lien. The house goes to auction in December if unpaid. Silence. Then, your uncle said he was handling the finances. Uncle Joe knew about this? He's been managing Grandma's bills since she got forgetful. He said everything was fine. I pulled up property records. The pattern was clear. Uncle Joe had been managing Grandma's finances, letting taxes go unpaid while using her money elsewhere. Mom, has anyone seen Grandma's bank statements? Joe handles all that. He has power of attorney. Power of attorney. Uncle Joe controlled Grandma's finances, let taxes lapse, and was now organizing a scheme where everyone paid for renovations on a house about to be foreclosed. I booked a flight home for Wednesday. At Grandma's house I found her alone. She was lucid, sharp, nothing like the forgetful woman my family described. Grandma, do you want to move to assisted living? She looked surprised. Who said I'm moving? The family. They said you're moving next month. Joe mentioned it but I said no. I'm perfectly capable. Did you tell the family they could have the house? Have it. Oh. I told Joe he could help manage it since paperwork was confusing, but this is my home. I'm not giving it away. I showed her the tax lien documents. Did you know about this? She read, face paling. I gave Joe money for taxes every year. He said he was paying them. He wasn't. Now there's a $14,000 lien. The house goes to auction in December. Her hands shook. That's why Joe wanted me to sign papers last week. He said it was for Medicare. What papers? I didn't sign. Something felt wrong. He got angry, said I was being difficult. I called a real estate attorney I knew from work. Within hours we had a plan. Challenge the power of attorney misuse, pay the lien immediately to stop foreclosure, document Uncle Joe's mismanagement, protect Grandma's actual wishes. Grandma had savings, enough to cover the lien with plenty left over. Uncle Joe had been pocketing tax money while letting the lien accumulate, planning to pressure Grandma into signing over the house before foreclosure became public. My family's generous plan was actually a scheme to get everyone to pay for renovations on property Uncle Joe was manipulating through financial elder abuse. I called an emergency family meeting for Saturday. Everyone needs to be there. We're discussing the house. Uncle Joe dismissed it. We already discussed the house. This is about property ownership and tax obligations. Be there or I'm filing legal complaints Monday. Saturday the family gathered, annoyed at my dramatics. Uncle Joe sat confidently. I projected the tax lien documents on the TV. The house has a $14,000 tax lien. It goes to foreclosure auction December 1st if unpaid. Chaos erupted. What lien? Aunt Marsha demanded. The one accumulating 3 years while Uncle Joe had financial power of attorney. All eyes turned to Joe. I was managing multiple properties, he stammered. Things got complicated. You were pocketing Grandma's tax money while telling her you paid bills. That's financial exploitation of an elderly person. A crime. That's ridiculous. You were planning to pressure Grandma into signing over the house before foreclosure became public. Then you'd get everyone to pay for renovations, increasing property value you'd ultimately control. Brittany looked confused. But we all get shares. No. You pay renovation costs and monthly fees for a house Joe would control. Grandma never agreed to transfer ownership. She never agreed to move. Joe fabricated everything. Mom's face went white. Joe, is this true? It's more complicated. I pulled up bank statements from Grandma's permission. Here's money Grandma gave you for property taxes. Here's where you deposited it in your personal account. Here's where it wasn't used for taxes. The room was silent. Uncle Joe stood abruptly. You can't prove intent. I can prove you took money designated for specific purposes and used it elsewhere. I can prove you misrepresented Grandma's wishes. I can prove you pressured her to sign documents under false pretenses. That's enough. Aunt Marsha turned to her husband. Joe, what did you do? I was trying to keep the property in the family. With Grandma's memory going, someone needed to take charge. Grandma's memory is fine, I interrupted. She's sharp. She knew something was wrong, which is why she wouldn't sign. You manufactured the forgetful grandma narrative to justify taking control. I pulled out more documents. Here's the power of attorney. Notice it's limited, financial management only, not property transfer. You exceeded your authority. The tax lien is being paid this week, I continued. Grandma is revoking your power of attorney. A new attorney is handling her affairs. The house remains solely in Grandma's name. What about our renovations? Brittany asked weakly. There are no renovations. No room-sharing arrangement. This house belongs to Grandma, who is staying in it. Uncle Joe's face was red. You're destroying this family over money. You destroyed trust by stealing from your mother and manipulating your family. I'm just documenting it. Mom spoke quietly. How much did you take Joe? He didn't answer. $42,000 over 3 years, not counting unpaid taxes. He paid some bills, pocketed the rest. Aunt Marsha was crying. Brittany looked stunned. Joe was planning to take out a home equity line of credit once he controlled the property. Your renovation money would have funded his business ventures. I showed the email from a lender discussing his $200,000 HELOC application. Uncle Joe left threatening lawsuits. Aunt Marsha left in tears. Mom stayed, apologizing to Grandma repeatedly. The county processed the tax lien payment Wednesday. Grandma's property was clear. A new attorney took over with proper oversight. Uncle Joe's power of attorney was revoked. The family attorney suggested criminal charges. Grandma declined but made clear he was no longer welcome. Brittany called a week later. I gave Joe $2,000 for renovations. Small claims court. Document everything in file. 3 family members filed claims against Uncle Joe. He settled quietly, knowing criminal charges were possible. Grandma stayed in her house. I helped set up proper financial oversight. She remained completely capable of independent living. Thanksgiving that year was smaller. Uncle Joe's family didn't come. Some cousins sided with him. Others quietly thanked me. I sat with Grandma in her living room, not divided into someone's yoga studio. Thank you for asking questions, she said. Thank you for not signing those papers. The house stayed hers until she decided years later that she wanted senior living. She sold for market value and split proceeds equally. Uncle Joe had been cut from the will. His share went to elder abuse prevention charity. Grandma lived another 8 years sharp and independent. Her house was hers on her terms. And nobody ever tried to divide up rooms again. My sewing room assignment never materialized. Neither did anyone else's. Grandma's house remained what it always was, her home on her terms. Exactly as it should be.